Hey guys, let's talk about the metaverse. We'll talk about exactly what the metaverse is, as well as some pros and cons that will come with it, and maybe some unforeseeable consequences that people have not thought about. But first, this is brought to you by Clean, but more on that later. So let's get started. So what is the metaverse? And this is an article published by the New York Post. It says the definition of the metaverse is really on who you ask. It's on how you ask. By the dictionary standards, a 3D virtual world, especially in an online role-player game. Recently, Facebook has rebranded to Meta, thus taking on the initiative to starting the metaverse and developing more and more with meta technology and just creating overall a more meta universe experience. So Mark Zuckerberg calls this the next version of the internet. He says this isn't about spending more time in screens. It's about making time we already spend better. And I'll talk about why this may be a bad thing. Facebook has rebranded its parent company operation as Meta as part of its commitment to the metaverse. Speaking to journalists including The Sun, Meta's VR boss Andrew Bosworth said the metaverse is a set of virtual 3D spaces where you can share immersive experiences with each other when you can't be together. So I definitely understand what they're talking about when it comes to sharing experiences. I can see how this would be super cool. Maybe you could play some virtual video games with a cousin of yours that lives a long way away, or just friends, family, whatever it may be. I can understand that. Let's get into the pros and cons of the metaverse, and as well as some unforeseeable consequences that may come along with it. So this article was published by the Geek Culture, and they talk about the how the metaverse is inevitable. As Mark Zuckerberg explained, it's the next phase of the internet. So here's the bright side to the metaverse. It can bring people together. It can create lots of fun, offer a mysterious aurora of alien worlds, make everything more enjoyable and more interesting, improve work at home and homeschooling. So you can definitely see a lot of applications to this and how you can teach people to do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do like while at home. But here's the ugly side or the cons of it, and there's a lot more that I have that they haven't listed here. It can generate addiction, meaning that if we're already on our phones because there's so many addictive games, imagine how much more that'll be magnified if you can actually get more of a sensation of the addiction of what you're playing. You can lose track of time. I can totally understand this. Like when you're playing video games, it's kind of easy you can tell when the sun's going down and things like that. But when you have goggles on and you're fully immersed with sights, sounds, and all the technology that surrounds it, then you could definitely lose track of time very easy. You can't see the sun, anything like that. It separates you from the real nature of the world. And this is one of the biggest dangers that I see with it is once you put your goggles on, you're in a different world, a world that you created with little consequence, and it doesn't affect you physically. You may suffer like virtual consequences, but this could generate a whole separate aurora of being who you aren't actually, or of putting on a persona of who you aren't actually are. I don't know if that makes sense. But this can also overstimulate your senses. I imagine that headaches and a lot of things will come with that. So those are some minor pros and cons. Basically, the way I see the metaverse is it can be used for a lot of instructional things, as well as some video games. But the thing is, I see it as like a social media. Social media, people tout there's so many good things about it, when in reality, the consequences of social media in the metaverse, I believe those consequences will be magnified so much greater than we can even imagine. People judging themselves based on other people wanting to live in a false reality, people trying to lose time, people trying to escape the real world. I feel like the metaverse will amplify those consequences more than we can even realize right now, and there's going to be so much more consequences that we don't even understand. So, and not to mention, this is going to be a huge advertising space for big tech, meaning hundreds of millions to billions of dollars will be poured into advertising to get in front of the eyes of the people that are in this reality. So just overall super interesting. I do think, as it talks about in this article, it probably is inevitable. However, I don't know when. Mark Zuckerberg is talking about within this decade, which he says Zuckerberg thinks that the true metaverse will be ready within the decade. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that. They're hiring 10,000 staff to work on this project, which is a huge team. And Facebook has the money to do that. So this is just kind of my take on the metaverse. And this is some pretty crazy technology that's going to go into this. And speaking of cool technology, we here at Clean, we offer the ultimate parental controls for your family. So when the metaverse does come around, you're able to use parental controls to turn off the internet at the source so that your kids You can be able to control how much time your kids are and aren't able to spend on the internet, as well as control which sites they are and are not allowed to visit. So make sure you check out our website to learn more about CleanRouter as well as our Clean Phone. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys got any value from this, make sure you leave a like and also subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And like always, we'll see you next time.